ENCOR Section 10 Summary Challenge, Implementing Network Redundancy. Which of these is a first hop redundancy protocol that Cisco designed to allow multiple active forwarders to load balance outgoing traffic? This is GLBP, load balancing protocol. LB stands for load balancing. G stands for who knows what. Gateway? I think that's gateway. Gateway load balancing protocol. That's what it is. In HSRP, what are two possible states for the routers? There are two possible states for the routers in HSRP, which are active and standby. Yes, I think that's the terminology for HSRP. It's slightly different with VRP. However, the point is all the same. There is active router and there is standby router, and there is always one active router and one standby router. If you have more than two routers in the standby group, all the other routers will be just hanging out in the listening state. That's how HSRP works. With VRRP, the terminology is slightly different. I think it's active and backup. So you will have one active router and you will have one or more backup routers. So all other routers will be just listed as backup routers. What does a host without a dynamic routing protocol do when the only default gateway it has configured is unreachable? Okay, what does a host without a dynamic routing protocol do? This is basically just a normal computer, right? It only has one configured default gateway IP address. And if this gateway is unreachable, basically the host will not be able to communicate with external networks. It performs ARP to determine the next gateway to use. No, it doesn't do that. It forwards packets to the backup router. It doesn't have a way to know what the backup router next hop IP address is. It uses Cisco Discovery Protocol. This is not correct. It is unable to send packets off the local network segment, and this is the correct answer. It just will not be able to communicate outside of its own subnet. Which option is the default priority for VRRP? The default priority for VRRP as well as for HSRP is 100, and priority range is from 0 to 255. Which command can be used to verify the status of HSRP on the Cisco iOS router? So everything related to HSRP in iOS goes by the standby command. So it's show standby something, right? And show standby command, this command definitely exists, but the show standby router, I have never seen that. Probably this is something bogus. So yeah, that's pretty much the answer to this question. Just simply show standby. Which redundancy mode on Catalyst switches has the effect of the standby module reloading every other module and initializing all supervisor functions? Okay, so this section in the course about this is very vague, right? It's just very small. There is not so much of detail. But from what I was able to understand, that there are three modes that kind of are implemented in modular switches, and then there are supervisor model which kind of manages everything, and it may have a backup or standby supervisor module in case of the first one fails for whatever reason, for example hardware, the other one can take over. And there are three different approaches, three different methods how these standby mechanism can be implemented. They are RPR, RPR plus, and SSO, right? And in this case, okay, so in this case, it has the effect of the standby module reloading every other module. This is, I think, the most basic one and with the longest failover time. This is the RPR. RPR Plus, it does not need to reload other modules. It still takes some time, but it doesn't reload other modules. And SSO is kind of sub-second. It has sub-second switchover latency, over delay rather. Okay, so I'll go with RPR for this question. Which of these is the correct multicast address that VRP uses to send advertisements? I think it is 224.0.0.2. I may be wrong, or 224.0.0.18. I think this is the correct multicast IP address for VRP. 224.0.0.2 is actually the correct multicast address for HSRP. That's what HSRP uses. And actually, 224.0.0.2 is the universal all routers multicast IP address, right? So generally speaking, whatever protocol we are using, if some packets are being sent to this multicast address, they are intended to be delivered to all reachable routers across the network, right? But specifically for VRP, it is 224.0.0.18. Which two commands would set the authentication method for VRP on an interface to use the key string Cisco 123? One command for MD5 authentication and one command for plain text authentication. Okay, so it is VRP, then number, then the group number, so it's either of these three options. Then authentication. Then it's either MD5 or plain text, right? It's MD5 key string and then the string, or plain text key string and then the text. Just want to double check this quickly to make sure. I don't even have notes on that, so I think I remember correctly, right? So it's just plain text keyword. It is not the text keyword. Yep. Okay. Next. Which two commands could be issued on router 1 to verify the HSRP group, priority, and state of a Cisco iOS router? So it is HSRP. So again, our keyword is standby. Show standby brief is a valid command, and it shows different kind of things. It shows group, it definitely shows priority and state of the router. Okay, so this is fine. And then show standby is another command. Show standby is just kind of extended version of the output which show standby brief provides, or the other way around. Okay. There's probably one mistake. I will review the results. Okay, so I was wrong with question 8. Which two commands are used with VRP? And I guess what I did wrong is this one, is this option, VRP1 authentication, plain text key string, Cisco 123. If it's not this, then if it's not this option, then of course the first option is correct, I guess. VRP1 authentication text, Cisco 123. So I'm supposed to remember this command, I guess. Okay, I will retake this test just to get to question 8, make sure this option is correct and get back. And that was it. Question 8, the correct answer is VRP1 authentication text and VRP1 authentication MD5 key string. So key string is not used with the plain text password, just the command syntax.